Atlanta. This is Herman Anderson, and welcome to our first Veteran Helping Veterans radio program for this season. You listen to us on WCEG Network, where you can click on Livestream, and you can also watch us on several other entities. You can sign up for YouTube, and I'll give you some more information as we move on. We are the worldwide community empowerment group. We speak live in the community. My name is Herman Anderson, as I say, my co-host is Anthony Aiken. He will introduce himself after I give this non-claimer. WCEG Network is not the opinion of the guests is not the opinion of WCEG Network. WCEG Network is a nonprofit. Our business office is 404-490-8646. Brother Anthony Aikens, how are you today?
Brother Herman, so good to see you again. Yes, this is our first show after a little sabbatical for the summer, but it gave us the opportunity to recharge and to ensure that we continue to do what we do, provide good information to veterans and their families to ensure that they are getting all of the benefits and compensations that they need from serving our nation with dignity and honor. But we also highlight news of importance that could help the veteran and their families, especially from the largest healthcare system in the United States, the Veteran Administration healthcare system. So my brother, it's so good to see you again, to be with you. And as we move into our 7th year, I believe it is.
I believe it is.
Of being on the air, of providing just great information to veterans around the world. So good to see you, my brother.
Great. And let's get started with event that took place this week and also last year. I'm talking about 9/11.
Yes.
Which I think the government changed the name to Patriots Day, but it's 9/11. The event happened on 9/11, and
sure,
the armed forces celebrated it this week because it was on Monday, and you were involved in it last year. So and I think it's growing more as the nation understand the first responders, and that includes firemen, police officers, and National Guard, and everyone.
Yeah, and, that's very true. Each year I look forward to seeing the memorial on television and other news sources about the heroic events of many people on that tragic day. I can recall I was in Denver, Colorado, which is 2 hours behind, being on Central Time. And my wife called me and asked me, "Are you watching television?" I said, "No, sweetheart, it's like 7 in the morning." No, I'm not. She said, "Well, you need to turn the television on now." And when I did turn it on and I saw this building inflamed in the middle, it kind of like stunned me, like, that building looks familiar. And the more I started to get closer, yeah, I know that building. And then shortly after that, a second plane hit into that building. So when you talk about the first responders, and there's so many of them, and the heroic acts that they did on that day to help those in that stressful situation. And here we are in 2023, and people are still dealing with that traumatic event. I know for a fact, when I was stationed at Walter Reed and eventually retired in '99 and stayed in touch with my old staff, they were some of the reactionary members to go to the Pentagon to help with the catastrophe over there. And just knowing them and what they had to deal with on that particular day, it's breathtaking that we on our own soil saw the degradation of another nation against us to the point that they committed so many acts of terrorism that cost so many lives. So it was great to see that commemorative series, but it also brings back memories of a very tough time on our nation's soil.
Well, good. And no, to talk about today's environment and what's going on with the Veteran Administration and the two items that's that we're trying to inform veterans about today is the PAC Act and the Lejeune situation for veterans. So we had a lot of in the last year since Congress passed the PAC Act. The VA is seen to put more effort in trying to inform veterans of the PAC Act and how it increased our possibility of getting our disabilities compensated for. What are your thoughts on that?
Anything that we can do to improve the process, you and I are 100% behind. As you know, in the past, it's taken some veterans 2 years to even have their records reviewed. And in a lot of cases, records were discarded, not looked at, forgotten, misplaced, or whatever. So whatever the system can do now to shorten that time frame and to increase the number of veterans being successful in receiving the compensations and benefits that they've earned, we are 100% behind it. That's paramount. And I know we're always making changes at the different levels of the VA, but the consistency should be on making sure that we have a system in place that would recognize a veteran going through the process to receive his or her compensations or benefits. So again, 100% behind that. And I hope that we will see improved numbers as we move through this process.
One thought I have is I think veterans should become more active in understanding the voting process, and also basically our congressmen that represent each state, and also the representative. We should provide information to their officers to make sure that they are supporting veterans and speaking up for veteran issues.
Unfortunately, and I really mean this, that for some reason, veterans in the past have not taken the bull by the horns, as we say, to be involved and in charge of their processes to receive compensations. The system is designed in such a way that so much information is needed and required for the individuals in the regional office to make decisions on your case. As we've stated in the past, there are so many veterans looking for that golden decision, but yet they're not involved. And because of their lack of involvement, they're put on the wayside. Veterans, you and I and others, are considered by our Social Security number. There are many Herman Andersons and Anthony C. Aikens in the world, and we all have a last four numbers. Anderson, last four, Aiken, last four. So you need to be more involved. You need to take charge. You need to get involved with a veteran service organization, which is a third-party organization not associated, not being paid for by the VA to manage your situation, but get these individuals or these organizations involved with you to help you through this PAC Act. And if you follow these steps, and there's steps that you have to follow, but if you follow these steps and not become frustrated with the system, then you can be successful.
Okay,
I've seen many veterans as of late get their compensations.
Let us quickly deal with a couple of technical issues. You are sideways on the screen, so adjust your camera. And Vivian, the mayor's in the waiting room. Is that correct?
No, she's not.
She says she is, so we got a technical difficulty with that.
She must have a bad. Did you send her the link from yesterday?
Yes, I did.
Type her email address in the chat for me, please, and I'll send it to her again.
Okay, we'll do that.
Thank you.
Well, in the meantime, while he's doing that, I just like to go back to the benefits and compensation.
Turn your device, Mr. Anthony. You're sideways and you're blurry.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I'd like to get back into the compensation and benefits arena again. It is very paramount that veterans, again, take charge. They have to take charge of this particular scenario because the system is overwhelmed with individuals trying to get compensations. And the more you speak up for yourself, the more you will get attention. Again, there are many veterans like us trying to do the same thing, but you have to have due diligence, dedication, and commitment to make things happen. And with those things in place, in most cases, you'll become successful with your quest to receive your benefits and compensations. Is the mayor there yet?
We having a slight technical difficulty. She thinks she's on, but she's not showing up. So I'm gonna give Vivian her number. We'll call her. And while we're doing that, let's talk about one thing that it came to my attention recently is, we put a lot of emphasis on service-connected disabilities, but there's also another line of disability where people can file for pension, and that's, I think that's something we need to add to what we talk about. So I think that's important.
Yeah, it is. Again, as we say in the military, understand the rules of engagement. You have the veterans from 10% up to 100%, total and permanent, unemployable. Veterans are getting compensated for Agent Orange. Veterans are getting compensated for all other kinds of situations that they dealt with in the military. So you need to understand what all of the avenues are for you to speak with a veteran service officer about, an organization about, to make sure that you cover all of your bases to receive the compensation you need. There's also the hospital side in regards to compensations, and that's dealing with the HISA Act. HISA, through the hospital prosthetics department, can provide you almost up to $7,000 or more for items related to your particular disability. Then there's the Special Adaptive Housing, SHA, which deals with veterans being compensated to renovate and remodel their homes based on their disability. So all of these avenues are out there. I know the VA doesn't publish that big book they used to publish about benefits, but even with that, the small book that they provide still provides a lot of information for the veteran to go through and take a look at to see what they are eligible for, not only for themselves, but for their families, which is very, very important.
Well, it is. And one thing about the booklet is, as you know, there are more of it is out there electronically. So then we
Yes.
had a challenge of going to the website, but it's there.
Yeah, that's there. And I know a lot of veterans say, well, I'm not computer savvy. I'm not computer literate, da, 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 da. Stop whining. You can go to the library. You can use some family members. You can use friends. You know, take charge and stop complaining. Take charge in what you need to do for yourself and take charge what you need to do for your family. There are always avenues. We already know this, Herman. Medals, material, essential, task list. That's a military thing. Maybe we need to talk more military to get some of these old guards and even educate some of the younger guards about how you get things done. It should be a transmission for you from the military to your civilian life and still utilize some of your military training to help you go through the system. There was always a plan B to a plan A. So if you run into, don't stop. Find that B to get what you need.
Well, and I think one thing you said is because in the military these days, you almost everything is technical, deal with technology. So
Technical.
people coming out have it, but you hit on a key point is just realize it's no different out here than it is in there. When it comes to using the technology, there are different terminology, but they actually know it a whole lot better than I do.
Yeah, the only difference that I see is in the military, there were always punitive actions for you not doing something you needed to do. You know what I mean? But when you retire and get into the civilian world, you're almost like a kid in kindergarten. Hey,
I'm free.
I'm free. You know,
like a college freshman.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So I'm away from home my freshman year. I'm not even going to class. But my thing is, take charge. You've served with dignity and honor. Who knows what your disabilities are? Doesn't matter. You know. So if you know what they are, go and get the help and support that you need. You served the nation. It's that blank check that you were offered. Now it's the time to use that skill craft, a military term, let's use that old skill craft and write that check. And that check is to go to and get your VA physical for benefits and let it be documented on what you need to do. It's there. Veterans, Herman, I can just talk about horror stories of veterans that I've met from the Korean War, Vietnam War, Grenada, all these other places that sustained injuries, could be PTSD or whatever, and they never filed. They never took the time to file. So there are millions of dollars that they're letting go, not only for themselves, but for their loved ones. They're also, for compensation for when a veteran dies, that their family could use to assist them during that period of loss. Educational, voc rehab, additional college training, all of these things for what you did in the military. So,
like I say, it's all in the booklet. It's all on the website. And actually, a guy just sent me a 12-page document, a lawyer, that summarizes, all of it, and I'll send it out. But the good thing about it, it's in one place and it's electronically in paper. So I just got that yesterday.
That's very good information, Herman. And the other thing that always bugs me is that you know and I know that a lot of veterans were doing the Vietnam era, and it's a very tough environment. And a lot of veterans left the military with dishonorable discharges. Lots of
That's true, and that is addressed in here. But our Riverdale mayor is on. So yeah, let her in, Vivian.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, and
Okay.
good afternoon. We apologize for the technical difficulties.
Oh, that's okay. I get them every day, sweetie.
I'm just gonna do a short introduction that you sent me. That you, after you retired, you became mayor. You're mayor for the last 16 years. Your mother, grandmother, great grandmother has 5 siblings. Is retired from your private job and enjoys giving to citizens of giving and serving the citizens of Riverdale. So, what's on your mind today?
Well, I tell you, I'm just relieved to get in. Because I kind of panicked. I'm sorry. I have that sinus drainage. I'm sorry. But what happened is I did not want to let you down, Mr. Herman.
I appreciate
Because I be thinking about my Uncle G.
it.
And I have been so, what you doing, girl? Why you didn't get on? But I am just elated to continue to work with veterans. So many of my family members are veterans. And they gone on now, but one interesting story to let you know why I have such a great admiration for veterans is the fact that my grandmama, who was Cherokee Indian, and that was a pretty woman, she had 10 sons in World War II in the war.
10.
10. And most of Uncle Bud was in the Air Force, a parachuter. And the rest of them was just like in General Army. But my Uncle Tom was in the Navy. And he was a cook in the Navy. He wasn't no lieutenant or nothing. But one of his, and that was a disgrace for us, was the fact that they put him in the federal prison because that, what y'all call him, who at the top, the admiral?
General, in the Navy, it was probably an admiral or a general.
Admiral, yeah. He kept, and my uncle, they were real light skinned with that pretty hair. He kept calling my uncle a squaw. And my Uncle Tom was a mean man. And Uncle Tom said, now you call my mama a squaw one more time, I'm gonna hand you your head. We split that man's throat. And they put him over here on the federal pen over there on McDonald Boulevard.
Yes.
They gave him life to be in there. But Uncle Tom, being an Indian, he escaped and never came back to Georgia. So I have good things. My brother was a Navy SEAL. So I have great love for military people. And I have a great sadness for veterans because of how they are treated. You know, they don't take in consideration, they go through mental anguish, running for their life, disrespected. People don't want to give you the same respect they do. I call them pink people, but our counterparts or whatever. So whatever I can do for veterans, because I worked in Grady 20 years as a gerontologist. And I had so many veterans, and they were so despondent, heartbroken, on drugs, just gave up. You went gave your life or put your life on the line for the United States, and to be treated worse than a skunk. I hate that. And this get, and Mr. Herman, you know me, I ain't no prim and proper person, who say rah and do all that myth. I'm just Evelyn. And I'm just telling you the truth.
I that's great. And my co-host Anthony don't know you as well as I do. So Anthony, you have a question for the mayor?
No, I mean, not a question. I appreciate her passion and her story, because there are many others similar to hers in regards to how people of color, and let's be real with it, people of color are treated in the military. I was listening to her story about, a relative being in the Navy. I also had an uncle that served in the Navy during World War II and was at Pearl Harbor when the attack occurred. And he spent 13 years in the VA system, literally in the VA system, what we call PTSD, but back then it was called shell shock.
Yep.
He was not receiving the compensations and the disabilities and the care that he needed. And he's not the only one. I've had other cousins to come back from Vietnam that they were totally different men. They weren't the same, but yet again, the system was not taking care of them. They were receiving denial letters after denial letters, or waiting period after waiting period. And it was just very difficult as a young person to see that. But I went into the military to honor them and to make sure that I held this system accountable for the time and service that I'm giving to this nation. That's what is important to me. And now that I've retired, my passion is even more elevated to ensure that veterans understand that they should be compensated, they should receive benefits, and them requesting it is because what they earned. They don't
just add a comment. Me and you both are working on getting our 100% compensation. So we're helping everybody else, and we're trying to get what we deserve also.
Right, that's important.
When I was the case manager at Grady Hospital in gerontology medicine and neurology, I tried to help so many veterans get their disability. And the things that they were turning them down for was ridiculous. Ray Charles could have looked through that and saw that we just kicking you. We're going to answer you. So it will be legal. But we ain't doing nothing for you. I only managed to get 5 people they benefit. 5. And these people were clearly destroyed. I mean, one arm was so bunkered out, I was scared to go in the room with him. Why they couldn't see it if I could see it? They don't care. And I tell you the thing that really, I'm a history buff. The thing that got me in there, I think this was Chicago, if my old mind served me right. It was some people that came home from World War II with their suits on. And it was up north. It wasn't here. I remember now. The guys had on their uniform. They beat them and hung them and took their uniform. Because them pink people said, you don't supposed to have this on.
Correct.
And what happened to them? Nothing. I'm telling you, that could almost make you be, if you didn't know Jesus to help you through it, you could really be a bitter person.
Right. And that's why, Madam Mayor, we try to do as much as we can on this air with having individuals like yourself that come and talk about the truth. And it's important that they know the truth. And it's important for them to know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And there are individuals and organizations out there that can help them. To hear a story of 5 individuals receiving compensation and benefits during your term, that's absolutely ludicrous. That's ludicrous.
5.
And that shows a system that didn't care. Now,
this was back in the the late 1900s and the early 2000s, but it was ludicrous.
Well,
and it didn't never leave my mind, Mr. Herman. It never leave my mind. I had one patient, and see, I'm from the straight up hood. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Oh, I know how stuff rolls. And he was sitting out there on that curb when I got off work. And I don't know why the Lord put it on my mind, but I sit down and talk to him. He said, I did all I could to protect our country. And because I can't get a job because of my illness, when I go in to ask for a hamburger, even when I got the money people don't give me, they look at me like I got the bubonic plague. And that just ain't right.
It's not right. And no, what I last week, and when I told everyone that we this radio station and my organization, we are nonpartisan. That means we don't take side on politics. But what Anthony and I discussed before we could get you on is getting more our senators and representatives involved in doing work for veterans.
Well, good luck.
What passion?
That may not be as easy a feat as you think.
Well, we're working on it. We know it's not, but we're not gonna quit.
We're not gonna quit.
No, don't quit.
No, we've been doing this, Madam Mayor, for 7 years, and we've helped veterans in the past. We have some success stories, and veterans writing, texting to us saying that, you know, we heard something today that motivated us that we needed to get going. I still think about Larry X. Larry X was a Vietnam infantryman on the ground pounding. So PTSD, Agent Orange, all these things were in his ballpark, but for whatever reason, never got started. But listening to our show was jump-started to do something. There's another story of a Tuskegee Airman, late 80s, had never, ever filed for compensation, but because of listening to our show, went through, started the process, and was able to receive a whole lot of back pay money for something that he should have earned years and years ago. So we won't quit.
What's that light skinned name that used to be over at Atlanta area tech at all the time? Had curly hair. What was his name? I called him Baby Doll because he was so handsome. But he talking about don't call me no baby doll. But anyway, he was so pretty. But he just recently died. And so the reason I mentioned that, we had a lot of Tuskegee Airmen who were not only flight, but they were the mechanics.
Correct.
That worked with the Tuskegee Airmen. And so they was in their 90s and stuff. And so you know what I did? Every one of them, I brought them to the city hall. And when I brought them to the city hall, I gave them a proclamation and a little award thanking them for their service. And one of them, he died, and his wife died 2 weeks later. But I got a chance to give him that proclamation thanking him. And what many people don't know, see, these children don't want to know nothing these days. They call them the easy children or something. They need to just call them children. But anyway, they don't even understand the hardship that the Tuskegee Airmen went through. We ain't just talking about the foot soldier. And it had not been for Eleanor Roosevelt, they wouldn't have got that recognition.
Madam Mayor, you hit the nail so much on the head. This conversation was going on yesterday with me and a couple other veterans, you know, about the Tuskegee Airmen. But the key factor, and I have to relate back to my father. My father and a lot of those veterans during that era, Vietnam and World War II, a lot of them didn't even complete high school.
Right.
Yet they were able to work for the government in very skilled labor jobs, riggers, mechanics, aeronautics, all of those men to keep our ships, tanks, planes going. Now, how could that be if these men, as they say, didn't have the education and were not equivalent of being a human being, still do the job to make sure that those that fly the plane, drove the tank, and etc., could get to fly. And a lot of folks tend to forget that, yes, the Tuskegee Airmen were great. I'm a Tuskegee graduate. I knew Chief Anderson that flew. Eleanor Roosevelt knew him personally as a student. But they were the mechanics, and there were the females that worked at the Tuskegee airfield that kept those pilots going. Without them, it wouldn't be a Tuskegee Airman.
It wouldn't be.
Would not
That's
be.
why I love history. What you just shared with me about your dad, I can share that with somebody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how we were strong back in the day. We talked to each other, not at each other.
Correct.
We played on Sundays. I'm gonna tell you this, you might think I'm crazy, but this is true. On Sunday, you didn't miss Sunday school.
No.
And we got on that church bus and we were ready out there when he came up. And after Sunday school, you have morning worship. And after that, you go home and eat. And your mama cooked on Saturday so you could eat on Sunday and go back to evening service.
Correct.
But we got, the reason I'm mentioning that, when they went into the Army, Navy or Marines or whatever they went into, they had structure.
Correct.
They knew how to act. They knew what's what. And the main thing, we knew Jesus.
But that's,
they don't do that no more.
that's one thing that Anthony and myself had talked about on this program is we had structure before we went in the Army, and the Army just increased that structure. But having that structure before you went in there really helped you survive being in there. If you didn't have it, the probability of you staying in there was not good.
Yeah,
So
we had the foundation of one word, family.
Yes.
We had the foundation of the family. My father and mother, neither one graduated from high school, but they taught themselves to read and write. They talked about love. They talked about you could be successful in anything you wanted to do. They were not afraid of me having mentors or men and women that could help me move ahead. And for that, I never forgot it. And as a result of that, I always continued to motivate and uplift others because of the foundation that I was provided as a young man. So going into the military as a Black officer in 1974, when I met up with my adversarial friends or associates, they could not help me because I had that foundation.
That's right.
I believed in me, and I believed in what I could do given the one word that I always ask for, opportunity. So if you provide me the opportunity and move aside and let me flourish and give me guidance and mentoring when I needed to have it, all of us will be successful. Madam Mayor, I know you have the same thing in your city government. That's why you've been there for 16 years. Foundation, structure.
Thank you. Thank you.
You couldn't be there if you didn't have
it. And faith in God. That teaching, my daddy used to tell me, if somebody knock you down, get up.
Get up.
Get up. Shake it off. And then God will make a way. Hey, let me ask you one question before we proceed. Where you from? I'm trying to recognize your accent. You from New York?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I'm originally from Charleston, South Carolina.
No, you ain't.
Yes, ma'am. Born and raised.
You got that New York rolled down.
No, it's from years of traveling around the world, and being put in positions where I was always giving speeches, always in front, the whole 9 yards. And I had a cousin that was a 3-star general in the United States Army. He's the first Black 3-star general of the IG Corps, Lieutenant General Henry Doctor. And he always told me, I want you to be able to do 2 things and 2 things very well. 1, be able to write effectively, and 2, speak with authority, and you'll be fine.
Well, he ain't lying.
And
you sound good.
I took that to heart. I took that to heart. And everyone that I meet, and as a matter of fact, I'm giving a speech tonight. Everyone that I meet, I always tell them the same thing. As a man of color, make sure that you're able to express yourself in writing and express yourself orally to get your points across.
Wow, you speak well.
Thank you.
Mr. Herman, I recognized you, but I didn't recognize his.
While we are speaking of history for Black veterans, there's Johnny Crawford. I believe he had an exposition in Riverdale. He's been on this program, and Johnny Crawford is retired from the Atlanta Constitution as a photographer, and he's doing Vietnam veterans, and he's like you say, is doing it, the history of Vietnam veterans, and it's a great program. And I'll put his website on Facebook, but Johnny Crawford.
I do remember him, Herman. I do remember. Matter of fact, Madam Mayor, you may not remember, but I actually spoke in your city at a program put on by my brother Herman with the 9/11.
Last year. Yeah.
Last year. So I enjoyed that time and enjoyed being on the program with my brother Herman. And it's great to have you on our show, because we did see your city's commitment to veterans.
Well, I love veterans, and Mr. Herman, well, my uncle best friend. So Mr. Herman got a special place because my Uncle George used to talk about him all the time. But I apologize to you, gentlemen, that I'm not talking all like that. I can't do it. I can't. I got to be me.
That's right. Be you.
I wasn't in the Army, even though I wanted to be a wax. But I couldn't go in because I got pregnant in college. And they had a different temperament if you got pregnant back then and wasn't married. They looked at you differently.
Yes.
But I really wanted to be in the service. I did. Because back then, I wasn't no big girl like I am now. I had a little waistline. I wanted to wear that uniform and make it look good. But I got to be grateful to God for everybody have their own path and
everybody does
their own whatever. And you gentlemen are doing it very well. And not as the mayor, but as a Christian, I honor both of you very much, because these people are forgotten.
Oh, man.
They are overlooked and everything. Now, I only got mad with a veteran one time. And I was coming from a meeting at Georgia Tech. And right down there by the varsity, I had bought, and a varsity hot dog is the best thing you can get. Had got me some of them onion rings and 2 hot dogs with the slaw on it. Stopped at the red light, and that veteran with his army jacket and stuff on, he said, I'm hungry. So I was going to go back and buy me something else. I said, you can have my food, sir. I haven't opened it. And I ain't got but $2, but I can give you that. He said, honey, go ahead on. I don't want no food. I don't want no, what $2 gonna do for me? I said, well, you won't go to the bathroom off of Al. So you should have took this. That was the only time I ever got mad with a veteran. He was just hustling money because I offered him food and he wouldn't take it.
Well, you can do what you got to do. And you extended you wanted to give help. For whatever reason, that person didn't follow through, but you did what you were supposed to do.
You did. And I got a couple things before we run out of time. Also on September 11th, my organization, Veteranshelpingveterans, originally were Black veterans. That's a long story why we changed the name. But of those 11 years, 10 of them we've been meeting in Riverdale. So we thank you I thank you for that. And what the other one is so you're contributing a lot to helping veterans. We average at least getting 50 people in the system a month. So we're getting 600 people in the system. I have no idea how many of them get, what percentage of their claims they get, but we at least get them in the system.
That's a blessing.
And
that is a blessing. At least they're aware and they know their resources are there. And hopefully, under that 600 plus, they're communicating with each other to let them know their processes and how things have occurred from them, because everybody's story is different. So if they communicate among themselves, they'll be able to figure out what fits them and their family. So
and we also on this program, Anthony, I haven't given out my information today, but usually after the program, I get contact information. I'll get contact information. So we're helping in several ways. And the other thing before we run out of time, Mayor,
Sir.
I understand you are running for re-election. You want to talk about
Sir.
it?
Well, yes, sir. I'm running for re-election. I wasn't going to run for re-election, but God let my blessings come in at one time, and I gave him the glory. I'm building a new high-rise right behind Popeyes and Krispy Kreme, and it's going to be 4 stories. And now I'm paving the streets on the worst streets. I can't do them all because that's $1 million project. But then we're just doing so many things to help people, the seniors and the youth, and building things. And you know what? I like, gentlemen, before we hang up, I help a lot of people. But the Bible says, if you bless me secretly, he'll reward you openly. I tell all this stuff that I do. People calling me, telling about my lights cut off. Where can I go? What can I do? I need a reference letter so I can get a job. The Lord blessed me that way through my children. I don't know how the blessings come, but I want to stay busy so I can be a catalyst to help. The Bible says if I can help somebody, it won't be in vain. I ain't got to help a few. Everybody don't even want your help. I had to learn that to survive. But what I want to do as mayor is to continue to do things to help people. And this one last thing. They had a debate last night, but I had to go to Atropolis to the meeting down there with all the other officials and stuff. And I didn't go to the debate. The man who running against me got on Facebook and said, I was no good.
Wow.
I didn't think enough to even come to the debate. But what I went to was important because I'm trying to get a grant to do some more stuff in the city. That debate ain't gonna do nothing. People gonna vote for who they want to. So I just want people to know I didn't steal no money. he said that he gonna do a forensic audit to let you know he don't know his business. It's $25,000 to get a forensic audit, and you asking people to give you money to help you run for mayor. So, but what I thank you for letting me put that little plug in. But I'm not hard up for no money. My children take care of me. God got us off that welfare, that food stamps, and homeless. So I have something in common with the veterans.
Correct.
I've been where you at, boo. I know what it's like not to have. You give up your food so your children can eat. So I know that, but I'm asking God to let me get reelected to finish all these new projects. And then I'm gonna hang it up, y'all. I'm gonna go retire like y'all and just do stuff in the community when I can.
Well, thank you very much. We winding up. We got to close a few minutes earlier today. So I'm complete. Anthony, you have any closing remarks?
No, I just want to say that it was a very good show, and it was very good to meet the mayor. Madam Mayor, we thank you very much for your encouraging words, your commitment to veterans, and the things that you do for your city and your constituents. So from me to you, continued success, and it's a pleasure seeing you again.
Thank you so much. Bye, Mr. Herman.
A goodbye, and
You
thank you very much.
You know I'm country as a bed bug to my bye, Mr. Herman.
Well, that I know when the best has been said, so I'm not even gonna try to top it. I'm just gonna tell everybody, have a good afternoon. It was
Have a good
hosting the mayor was great, and goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
We'll see you in 2 weeks.